In a remote, fog-shrouded village nestled in the mountains, whispers of a mysterious woman had begun to circulate. The villagers called her the Blade, for wherever she went, she carried a long, curved sword, and those who crossed her path rarely lived to tell the tale. Some said she was a ghost, a vengeful spirit from a forgotten war. Others believed she was an assassin, sent by an unknown force to exact vengeance. But no one knew the truth, for no one had ever dared to approach her. The Blade appeared without warning. One night, she simply walked into the village, her silhouette cutting through the mist like a shadow. She wore a black cloak that flowed like water around her, and beneath her hood, her face was always obscured, revealing only glimmers of piercing, cold eyes. Her sword, a katana with a gleaming silver edge, was strapped to her back. Despite her imposing presence, she never spoke a word. She would simply arrive, stay for a time, and then vanish just as quietly as she had come. The village had seen hard times before, bandits, famine, even sickness, but nothing like this. Fear hung over the people like a heavy shroud. Yet, the strange thing was, she never harmed anyone in the village. Her presence was unsettling, but she wasn't there to cause chaos. She seemed to be waiting for something, or someone. Then, one stormy night, the peace of the village was shattered. A group of mercenaries, hired by a powerful warlord, stormed through the village gates. They were ruthless, burning homes and demanding the villagers surrender their valuables. They were searching for something, or rather, someone. "We know you're hiding her," the leader of the mercenaries bellowed, his voice carrying over the howling wind. "Bring us the Blade, and we'll spare your lives." The villagers cowered in fear, unsure of what to do. No one knew where she had gone. Some had seen her disappear into the nearby forest days before, and others claimed she had been seen walking along the mountain's edge at dawn. But no one dared to speak her name. As the mercenaries began dragging people from their homes, a low, sharp whistle cut through the air. The leader of the mercenaries froze, his eyes darting toward the sound. Emerging from the swirling mist, the Blade appeared, her cloak billowing in the wind. She walked slowly, deliberately, toward the center of the village, her hand resting on the hilt of her sword. The mercenaries, though armed and dangerous, hesitated. There was something about her presence that unnerved them, a quiet power that radiated from her very being. The leader sneered, trying to mask his fear. "So, you finally show yourself. You're coming with us, woman. The warlord has a hefty price on your head." The Blade said nothing. She simply stood there, her face hidden beneath her hood. The leader grew impatient, his anger boiling over. "Get her," he shouted, and the mercenaries charged forward. What happened next was a blur of motion, too fast for the eye to follow. The Blade moved like a phantom, her sword flashing in the dim light. One by one, the mercenaries fell, their attacks deflected with effortless precision. She danced among them, her blade slicing through the air with deadly grace. Within moments, the village square was silent again, save for the sound of the wind and the soft thud of bodies hitting the ground. The leader of the mercenaries stood frozen, his eyes wide with terror. His men lay scattered around him, defeated without a sound. He dropped his weapon and fell to his knees, trembling. "Please, spare me," he begged. The Blade slowly approached him, her sword still in hand. She stood over him for a long moment, and then, with a swift, fluid motion, she sheathed her sword. The leader looked up at her in confusion, his heart pounding in his chest. Without a word, the Blade turned and began to walk away, disappearing once again into the fog. The villagers watched in awe and fear as she vanished into the mist. No one knew where she had come from, or where she would go next. But one thing was clear, the Blade was more than just a mysterious woman with a sword. She was a force of nature, an enigma that neither the villagers nor the mercenaries could understand. And somewhere, far beyond the village, the warlord who had sent the mercenaries would soon learn that there are some forces in the world better left undisturbed. For the Blade was not just a warrior, she was a legend, one that would haunt the shadows for years to come.